everybody, and welcome back to the Dodgers Port. And today, it really is the Dodgers Port. I thought as we start now to look at some mid to high tier ships, in this case 5, 6 and 7 tiers we're going to go through next, we'd move to my main account on the European server, where I've got a lot more ships of those tiers that we can play. So we're going to start off in this behemoth, the tier 5 Japanese battleship, the Congo. I'm not going to waffle too much, we'll jump straight into the battle and we'll have a look at how the gameplay differs once you start to move up the tiers. I'll see you there. So here we are on the fault line map in a tier 5 Japanese battleship, the Congo. The first of the tier 5 or mid-tier ships that I played on this channel. Why pick a battleship for the first one? Not sure, it just kind of spoke to me when I got to the port and I thought we'd give it a go. And plus, I find battleships get a little bit better as you get higher up the tiers. So what can we expect here that you'll notice different between this battle and the ones we've seen on the low tiers, which is what I always class tier 4 and below on? Well, the people playing these battles have had a little bit more experience, sometimes quite a lot more. Tier 5 is a tier that even experienced players like to come back to and play. It's quite a lot of fun. So you'll sometimes come up against whole teams of very experienced players. If we have a quick look at the number of players in the game, you'll see lots and lots of people are in clans, and that's very different from tier 4 battles where you'll find a lot of people aren't. So how are we going to approach this? Well, I'm going to approach it in the way that I always approach it, because my style of play is more of a mid to upper tier style of play than a rushing like mad low tier. So we're going to head to our own cap circle in this not very fast Congo. Now, why didn't I go up the west side of the map with those two destroyers? Well, there are islands at F2 and E2 which I don't want to be going round in a battleship, because you're just asking for somebody to torpedo you, especially when there are 5 destroyers in the battle. No thank you. I'm going to let other people spot those destroyers and I'm going to pick people off at range, remembering that the range in this ship is pretty huge compared to most ships. The actual firing range is over 20 kilometers, but that's something I'm going to have to get back used to again. I'm so used to now firing at 13 kilometers that 20 kilometers is going to feel like an awful long way. So we'll have a look around, lots of islands. Everybody, as you would expect, is kind of skulking. The anticipated fight on the west wing looks like it's happening. Really glad I didn't go up there. What I'm waiting for really is either a battleship or a cruiser that I can get my teeth into. Now, there is a slight danger in playing defensively as you go up the tiers, where people can often play very aggressively, in that if your team is very good, sometimes they'll almost win the battle without you. So we fire our first set of salvos, and it's pretty obvious to me as soon as I see it in the air, good lord, it's a very, very high arc on the Congo. I'd forgotten it was that high, and by the time they get down, I've just managed to miss that cruiser. Nice start. So we'll have a look round, see if we can find something a little bit easier to hit. Oh, there's a battleship, and we're using high explosive at this range. Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's back again. Let's, oh, he's gone again. Oh, don't you just hate it when that happens? The other thing, and I didn't need to in this battle, but I will at some point in the battles probably turn off the chats, because sadly you will find the higher up the tiers you get, the more toxic the chat tends to get as well, especially if you're on a losing team. Everybody's to blame but the person shouting at you. At the moment, nobody's sunk anybody. That's kind of typical. Again, as you start to climb the tiers, people are a lot more circumspect. And we've done a smidge of damage, but not very much. There's a battleship. Unfortunately, it looks like he was just starting a turn. If he does, we're not going to hit him. Now, 3 options here in a big lumbering battleship. I can either spin all the way around, in which case I'm going to have to wait for my guns to get back turned, or I could have gone the other side of that island. Never likely. If you look at the minimap, there are 3 battleships pointing into the centre zone, and nobody in their right mind goes into that central zone while there are that many ships pointing at it. Or the final alternative, which is the one I decided to take, is to go around the southern side of this island. Again, a little bit of a negative play, but I'm so used by now to being the guy that sits back and kills people as they attack that when things are going very well, I usually have a nice quiet battle, and it's beginning to look like that might be the case here. There's an awful lot of pushing going on, and I'm kind of waiting for someone to break through the middle, and if they do, then that's when I get to fight my battle. So let's keep watching for ships. It's a very, very cagey fight, isn't it? I mean, we've got quite a lot going on the eastern flank, but they've got a lot going on the western flank, and then everybody's hiding up around the edges. Now, this battleship is about to do something very clever and very stupid, both at the same time, and that's something I can relate to. He sees the shells coming and thinks, "Oh my gosh, I've got to avoid them." You know what? All credit to anybody who tries to avoid shells, and at that range you can. Unfortunately, he ran aground. I certainly know that feeling. And by running aground, yeah, now he's a sitting duck to everybody, because in a battleship he's going to have to do a very slow reverse. So let's give him both barrels, and I don't have to watch those shells. I absolutely know they're going to hit him. It's just whether or not they penetrate and whether or not they set him on fire. And the answer to both of those questions was yes. So we are 4 ships up. I'm still doing my little skull kink, and hoping that somebody at some point is going to come and give me a fight. Now I've got 2 battleships over there. One of them's coming around that corner. There's another one. Okay. So now, looking at the map, now I'm a bit more comfortable going into the centre, because it's really just this one battleship who thinks he's going to turn and avoid my shells, and he's wrong. Yeah, I'm happy to go one-on-one with this guy. That's not a problem. One-on-ones, battleship on battleship. I usually fancy my chances, as long as there are 2 or 3 battleships pointing at me at the same time. And it's not even one-on-one. We've got some of our other ships that are also trying to lay down some fire on him. Now, we're still persevering at this stage with high explosive, just because of the angle he's at and the range he's at. That will change if he gets much closer. He, however, is firing armour piercing, but didn't really do very much there. Again, once you start to get up the tiers, you'll find people angle just much better. He's giving me absolutely nothing to aim at here with armour piercing. He's showing his broadside to somebody who's firing high explosive. Yep, I'd do exactly that. But here's my high explosives, and that should be doing damage. Yeah, there we go. 6,700, that's definitely going to hurt. So we just now need to keep an eye on him and see if he's planning on turning. And he's going to have to turn, or I'm going to get some shots off anyway. So now, at this point, let's switch to armour piercing. And by turning and going straight forward, that meant that the battleship in the distance was unable to lay a shell on me. Good for him. A very chunky battleship, this. I figure he's not going to give me a full side, so I wonder if my back guns, my rear guns, can get anything on him. Yeah, 3 ricochets. 3 ricochets and an overpen. But we're getting close enough now that our secondaries are going to light him up, and the secondaries on a Congo are half decent. We just need to sink 1 more ship to win this game in what's been a pretty comfortable victory. How impactful was I? Not very, but the strategy holds. There was never any danger that they would take our cap zone. Oh, that's an easy kill. Yeah, he just turned too much right at the end. So there we go, the first tier 5 battle on this channel in the Congo, and it's a win, and a really solid win. Most of that due to my teammates. What I would say is, just because you have a battle like that, and this is the way you need to think is just because you have a battle where you sit back a little bit and don't really get as involved as you'd like, it doesn't make it the wrong tactic. If they'd been pushing as hard as we were, I would have been the busiest ship in the battle. Had I run away with the rest of my team and gone up the flank and they'd pushed through the middle, they would have capped. So if no one else is defending, even if you're going to have a quiet game sometimes, there's nothing wrong with sitting back and defending. And we still got a kill, and we still did 28,000 damage, so I'll take that every day of the week. I hope you enjoyed our first toe dipping into tier 5 to tier 7 ships, which are what I always class as the mid-range ships, and there will be lots more battles, hopefully with a lot more action than that coming up in those battles, and I'll see you over the weekend for some more of those. Until then, take care everybody, bye bye.